Welcome back to the Success Blueprint. I'm Sunny. We've secured the energy at layer 1, forged the chips at layer 2, and built the data timelines at layer 3. Today, we are finally stepping inside the brain itself. Layer 4, the models. Right now, Wall Street is treating the model layer like a winner-take-all race to artificial general intelligence. But behind the scenes, a massive architectural crack has formed. The model layer has completely split. On one side, we are witnessing an absolute bloodbath of margin death. On the other, a new class of subsidized reasoning is chewing through massive amounts of infrastructure. If you're investing in AI right now, without understanding the difference between standard inference and reasoning economics, you are playing a very dangerous game. Let's map out the blueprint. Out the standard tier first. If you think Silicon Valley has an unbreakable moat on raw intelligence, you need to look at what just happened in the market. Open source providers and architectural breakthroughs have turned standard intelligence into a pure commodity. We have officially entered the 10-cent era. Leading international providers like DeepSeek permanently slashed their flagship V4 Pro API pricing, dropping cache rate costs to a fraction of a cent per million tokens. Handset giants like Xiaomi instantly matched it, cutting costs by up to 99%. What does this mean for an investor? It means for pure standard workloads, things like translation, basic code generation, and sorting data. The moat is completely gone. Standard models are suffering from total margin death. If a CIO can host a model natively or tap an API for pennies, why would they pay a premium subscription to a standalone model lab? They won't. For standard tasks, intelligence is now as cheap and generic as tap water. But if standard intelligence is free, where is the value? It's moving to a completely different class of compute, reasoning models. We're talking about architectures like OpenAI's O1 and O3 series, or Claude's deep exploration variants. When you ask a standard model a question, it predicts the next word instantly, taking about 25 milliseconds. But when you ask a reasoning model a complex math, coding, or logic problem, it doesn't just guess. It activates what we call test-time compute. The model opens an internal scratchpad. It spends seconds, minutes, or even hours debating with itself, checking its own logic, running simulations, and generating tens of thousands of internal chain-of-thought tokens before it ever shows you an answer. The model isn't necessarily bigger, it's just being allowed to think longer. This test-time compute scaling is completely altering the financial architecture of Layer 4. The model layer is now operating on a strict Pareto principle. The commodity tier, 80% of total query volume, consists of simple, standard tasks, but it only generates about 20% of the revenue. It's a low-margin race to the bottom. The premium reasoning tier, only 15 to 20% of the volume is made of deep, multi-step reasoning queries, but it commands 60% of the revenue. But here is the non-obvious choke point that trips up almost everyone. A single deep reasoning query can consume 40 to 200 times more compute power than a standard one. This creates a massive capital intensity problem. Pure-play AI startups cannot afford the billions in capex required to host these reasoning engines on their own. The only sustainable path forward for a frontier model lab is a deep vertical integration with a hyperscaler. Microsoft, Amazon, and Google are effectively subsidizing the brain. They absorb the infrastructure tax because they know the models are the ultimate top-of-funnel capture for their cloud and data ecosystems. Are your portfolio? The takeaway is clear. Do not bet on isolated software companies that only sell raw model access. They will be crushed by the deflationary token war. Instead, look for the players who can scale reasoning, or the platforms that use these subsidized brains to build something permanent. When intelligence is cheap, but reasoning requires massive coordination, the real value moves to how we orchestrate these brains to do actual autonomous work. Next week, we move to Layer 5, execution. We're going to look at agent orchestration and memory engineering. I'm going to show you why agent memory cannot simply be copy-pasted between models, and how the harness we build around these subsidized brains is where the ultimate corporate lock-in is won. Are you betting on open-source commodity models, or the tech giants anchoring the reasoning infrastructure? Let me know your strategy in the comments below. I'm Sunny. And this is the Success Blueprint. I'll see you in the next episode.